Welcome, traders. So I've been traveling a lot lately and have not really been able to, and been in very different time zones, and have not really been able to, and also have been on holiday. So I've not really been able to post market analysis videos with the same consistency. I'm hoping to bring that back up. So one of the first things I'm going to do this week is let's just have a quick look at the euro dollar. So I'm starting off here on the monthly time frame. The key thing here is that we are continuing to move high. There's a really major level close to 1.22 that I want to keep an eye on. This is where I think we're working towards. When we then go down to the weekly level, we've actually broken through some decent resistance lately. The trend at this point, very, very nice. I like the fact that we have a clear uptrend in terms of price action. We have the 50, the 20, and the 10 in a nice bullish formation, and the MACD continues to produce new highs. However, one of the things I'm looking for here is a potential small retracement back down to test this level of resistance as support before continuing higher. We could actually see potentially price coming back down to 1.157. Then when we go down to the daily, again, the quality of this trend is looking really, really good. And even as I record this, price is coming back into the moving averages down towards this level of potential support, as I said. So what I'm looking for this week is some nice, strong bullish candles forming in this area and looking for a continuation to the upside. As I said also earlier, the MACD continues to create fresh highs, as does price. The quality of the trend is looking really good. The 50 and the 20 and the 10 fanning out, just supporting the idea that this is a very strong and stable trend. Now, interestingly, when we move across and have a look at cable, GBP against the US dollar, we're also breaking fresh highs here, so it's also supporting that idea of a weaker US dollar and stronger pound. And then going in more detail and having a look at the weekly here, you can see again, very similar to euro dollar, we've got MACD moving higher, flowing high. We've got the 50, the 20, and the 10 in a nice bullish formation. And we have this very clear, strong uptrend at the moment. Price currently doing a little bit of a retracement, but if we have a look at it on the daily time frame, and we get a little bit more detail, you can actually see the price is now coming in and testing a level of support and resistance, or at least testing a previous level of resistance for support. So again, in this area, I'm looking to see if we do find a strong bullish candle and continue to move higher. Now, again, a weaker US dollar is certainly going to accelerate that. Let's compare this to the dollar yen. So now looking at dollar yen on the daily time frame, it is starting to look, although it is currently going sideways and entangled in the moving averages, it is starting to look increasingly bullish. And then later on, or at least in a moment, I'm going to be having a look at a couple of the yen crosses, which are offering some really high probability buying opportunities. But before we do that, it's worthwhile having a look here at dollar Swiss here on the monthly time frame. It's broken through key support levels. It's actually coming down towards historic lows from the previous interventions, and Swiss National Bank depegging it and so on and so forth. We can see how low it's actually come. If we just quickly then go and have a look at it on a daily time frame, one of the trends here is just incredibly good quality trends. We can see that, again, also very similar to euro dollar, almost inversely to that. We've got a good quality downtrend here. Price is putting back into the moving averages. And so what I'll be looking for this week is a bearish candle here and a continuation to the downside. Overall, the quality of this trend is really what, at this point in time, tells me that it is likely to continue hitting lower. And a lot of this then is revolving around the dollar weakening itself. Moving away from that and having a look at gold as well. Gold has been going largely sideways for some time now. What I like of today, it being Monday, the beginning of the week, we've actually already had a relatively strong bullish candle form, and I think there is a lot more upwards potential here for gold. However, I would keep an eye on certain key levels, and just highlighting here around that 33.82 level, which is recent and historic, potentially even up as high as 34.31, these recent highs. I think we have great potential over the coming days also to see gold continue to push higher. Now let's go and have a look at the global markets. Here is the Dow on the daily coming back into the moving averages. So I have to say, again, after this almost V-shaped recovery, the market's been just trending higher and higher. We've had a breakout of resistance at 42.81. Prices moved higher. It's now coming back into the moving averages. And at this point, we're still also getting fresh highs on the MACD. So for now, again, this week, I'm looking for some nice bullish candle to form here in the coming days, and then a continuation to the upside, expecting this to continue up. Although, yes, keeping in mind that we are approaching significant historic highs, and there's always the possibility that we could have a deeper correction. Currently, the price action continues to look nice and bullish, and again, I'm looking for a bullish candle here and a break of the high of that and a continuation higher. Just comparing this to the S&P as well, it's exactly the same thing. We've had a big move up. I'm looking for a pullback and a bullish candle to form here this week, and then a continuation. If we break the high of that, I'm expecting the market to move higher. On the other hand, should we produce maybe a stronger bearish candle here or move down below the 10 and 20, or fail to break the high of any bullish candles, then obviously I would expect us then to see a bigger correction. Finishing off here with the NASDAQ also continuing, ladies and gentlemen, to look increasingly strong and bullish. It's had a bit of a consolidation here, bullish candle here and a break of the high that could see this continue to head higher, and we're sitting again at all-time highs. So whether or not we're due to have a bigger correction in the markets, we will see if that's going to be the case. Currently, these markets continue to behave relatively normally, technically speaking. I also want to introduce you to the Russell 2000. So this is 2000 small cap companies in the US. And again, even this one, which has in recent years relatively underperformed, even recently now it is continuing to perform equally well. It has got a really good, nice, strong, healthy trend. And again, this week, looking for that bullish candle. So across the major indices here, looking for a bullish candle this week and at least a break of the high followed by an attempt to resume the uptrend and potentially finish higher by the end of this week. And then finally, for this week's video, let's have a look at some of the big stocks. Let's start off with Amazon here. Consolidation. Again, look at the structure of this trend, continuing to actually look relatively strong. If we compare this to, say, Apple, Apple's actually been doing relatively well lately. Just want to make sure I'm on the correct time frame here. Yes, we are. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to test some resistance here, but this is a very nice uptrend, and I think we will likely break through this resistance and continue higher. And then we've had some stellar performances as well from somebody such as Netflix, Nvidia doing incredibly well as well. Netflix here just trending absolutely beautifully, pulling back into the moving averages and actually looking good to go again. And finally, I'll finish up on Tesla at the moment. Tesla's struggling a little bit in comparison to some of the other Mag 7, so to speak. You can see I'm just showing you how we have these lower highs coming in as well as higher lows here, and it's leading towards a breakout. Looking at this, zooming out and getting a bit of a bigger picture here, my main concern is whether we break the lows here. If we do break the lows here, we can expect this to return back down towards the low 200s. So this is a relatively important level of support and resistance sitting here around that 291. Let's call it 300 level, but also the shape that is forming here. So we need to see this either break to the upside to then join the rest of the Mag 7, or ultimately, if we do break this and we break this low, we could find this starting to head back down towards these key levels here. So I'm going to leave you with that. What I did want to add in before we wrap up also is showing you some of the yen crosses. The euro pairs in general looking bullish, but the yen crosses are also looking particularly attractive. Let me do that and then we'll wrap this up. So here we go, looking at euro yen, just an incredibly good quality trend. If we go down to the lower time frames, even today, we've seen some just good quality trends. Again, on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour, continuing to provide some really high probability setups. Very rewarding. Let's have a look at pound yen. Pound yen also came through today, breaking up through new highs. Fantastic. Swiss yen has also just continued to outperform. Just again, really good stuff. Let's go down and have a look at 4 hours, and you can see here just the quality of these trends, just really, really good. Considering that in the months of April and May, there was very, very little going on in the markets. And just finally, Aussie yen. I'm just looking at these key levels here. We finished with a nice bullish candle. We have got a bit of resistance where we are, but there's a high likelihood that if these yen pairs continue to surge, we will see breaks and moves higher. And a lot of the crosses are just very attractive right now. There we go. I will leave you to that. Lots of things to look at. And thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon.